Hi, I've called this card Floral Elegance just because I've got a beautifully elegant die cut in the background and I've topped it with a really, really beautiful flower there. We're going to show you how to put that one together. It's quite easy. The dies that we'll be using in today's card are the Scandinavian background. This one's so pretty and it just gives such an elegant look to your cards. We're going to be using the Camellia Complete Petal, and I'll show you how to make a really pretty flower with that. For accents, we're going to be using the new Mosaic leaves around our flower. And believe it or not, I'm going to be using a bit of my festive collection, the little twigs from the pine bough, just as accents, because you can use them anytime you like. So let's set these behind us. And I think what I'll do is I'll start with my background and do some die cutting. So this is the Scandinavian background and it comes in 3 different pieces. I'm going to go ahead and tape this into the center of my coconut white card with some removable tape. Just center it. We'll get our plates and bring them across. Put it on the cutting plate with the cutting edge downward, cover it with the base plate, and we'll run it through the grand caliber. Now your background is a fairly large size die, so you probably will need to turn it and cut it one more time. It's actually not too bad there. I think what I'll do is I'll go ahead and put the centerpiece in and we'll cut that. So this has actually got just a decorative insert piece here. I'm going to pop this into place, center it right in the middle there. I'm going to run it through again. And let's check this one. Looks pretty good. Now I'm going to just do some embossing. So what I want to do is to take this, put it onto my embossing mat on my pink plate, and I'm going to add in this cutting edge to do an emboss around that. So let me just peel my tape up a little bit and we'll slip it underneath there. There we go. That'll just give a really pretty accentuated line around that frame. And we can emboss the entire piece while we're doing that. Let's see. All our little bits coming out already. So I'm going to just peel my tape back off of that. Take this piece out, that one away. Let's do a little bit of a run over with our tool-in-one, take out some of these extra bits. Poke the rest of these out and get our tape off of there. Okay. So if you take these little pieces out, and just be careful, you've got little curly cues there, so you don't want to pull them too hard. There we go. You can see how pretty that is. I've got one I've gone ahead and done ahead of time, so I won't bother poking out all the pieces, but you can see how pretty that is. Let's just tidy up a tiny bit. You definitely don't want to keep any of these little bits on your tan mat because they'll emboss into your card if you're not careful. Set those to the side and tidy up some of these extra little bits. There we go. So going back to the one I've cut earlier, I've added a bit of mounting foam because you have a nice little spot there that you can add your mounting foam on. And because I don't have any cutting edges around the outside of my background dies, you can create a frame any size you like, which I love to do. I can have a built-in area for mounting foam and I can raise that die cut up for some dimension. I'm going to peel that back and we'll just take these off here. And I'm going to put it on a white card background. So I'll have a little bit of a white on white going. Center that. That looks pretty good, not too bad. And I went ahead and did a pierced edge around with some matting and layering just to bring that to life. And I'll go ahead and attach that in the center. So we'll have the base of our card sorted out. It's absolutely beautiful. See how pretty that looks? Gorgeous design, I think. So now, next thing we want to do is add in our floral element. Now I went ahead and made one of these flowers for us so you can see how pretty that is, and I'll show you what we've done. I've cut various sizes of the Camellia, the complete petal here, and I'm going to do a little bit of inking with the Dusty Concord Distress ink just to pick up a little bit of color on the outside. In fact, we'll rub it just around the edge here on these little bits. Okay. We can even do a little bit of inking afterwards too if we want to add some more color in there. All right, that should be good. Now, using a foam mat, and this is a very dense mat I use for piercing and whatnot, works absolutely beautifully for this too. I've got a little ball tool here. I'm just going to put a little bit of shape into all these petals. Get them ready to go, and I tell you what I'll do. Because these will need to be glued, and we want our glue to be nice and tacky, I'm going to go ahead and set some on there. There we go. So it doesn't take much. Put that right in the middle. Let's start with these little guys here. You can literally just rub these like this to get them formed. And it breaks down the fiber in your card there, so it makes these easier to make too. Work a little bit on that one. And you can take more time at home when you're doing yours to really get in there and break that fiber down if you like. One of the things I think is easiest to do with these too is to give it a little bend right in the center of each of those petals. And that will help when we create our bud. I'm going to put some glue in the middle of this on each of those and just let it start to get tacky. And I'll work towards the other ones here too. Same thing, just a little teeny bend down the center. I'm putting my fingernail into that and just folding around it. A little bit of glue here. Let's do this last one. Oops. Okay, put some on there. Now these three small ones here are going to form the center bud for my card. Put some glue on that, and put some glue on this too. I'm going to put a little bit up on the petals on this one because it's going to go around that bud. Okay, so starting with this tiny one here, I'm just going to go opposite petals. And it's got 5 petals on there, so you just pick any 2 and try to get them formed and squeezed into a cone at the top there. I know it's a little hard to see with this tiny one around my fingers. Let me see if I can show you a little better. We're going to fold that one around there and fold this one around there and just start to form a bud and then form that last one up there. So you end up with tight little bud opening. Can you see that? Like that. Then I'm going to go on to the next one here, set that inside of it and work around it. Form that up around it, go opposite, skipping one, and then add in another one. Fold that up around and just keep pinching the top of that in. Don't worry about the glue, that'll dry very, very clear, so it won't be a problem. And to make it just a tiny bit of a fatter bud, we're going to pop one down right here, form that around, and just hold it for a second till the glue sets up and we'll have a really pretty bud started there. Okay, and at this point, if you want to add a little bit extra ink to the tip, it's a perfect time to do that. Okay, so now I've got a nice little bud started. You can see that. Isn't that pretty? So we're going to put that down into the center of this one. And then we're going to just hold these petals up. And it takes a second to really get that to stick around there nicely. So what I do is try and do a little bit of forming. Pinch those backwards. Okay. Get all of my petals coming backwards. It is a bit awkward at this stage, I have to admit. Just want to kind of keep it up around that one. And then we're going to go and offset the next size here a little bit. So that will sit about like that. Same thing, a little bit of forming around there. So it'll look like the petals are unfurling from the center bud. And then we'll pop this one down. Just offset it a tiny bit. And the last one, and make that go offset from the one below it. There we go. Get that on there nice and straight. And you can do a little bit more forming with your fingers and really work that up, and then get that glue to set up around that a little bit. So just hold that bit up a tiny bit. So when that dries, all that'll be nice and clear, and you'll have a really pretty bud coming through that. Okay, so I'll set that for a second. Let's go back to our base. I'm going to add a little bit of extra ink to the side of our sentiment here. Just take a piece of cut and dry foam. Just pick up a little bit of an edge. Kind of highlights that. It's very pretty. There we go. And I'm going to seat that down with a glue dot across my card, just picking up the bottom of that oval. About like that, I think. All right. Whoops, let's put one more glue dot to hold that straight. There we go. And with our mosaic leaves, I can nip these about and pick out little bits that I want. So I've got one that's a little longer there. I'm going to take off that stem. We'll use that separately. So we're going to go ahead and seat these around that base, and then we'll put our flower in the center. Have that coming up a little bit. And I think this one could come off of that tiny bit downward. You can just decide how you want it on your own card. And with the little twigs, I've gone ahead and cut several of these. Let me grab the other one here. I think I'll just put these on with a little bit of glue just around the base, and we're going to have them just popping up around our sentiment. They're really pretty, and you could even accent these with a little bit of glitter to kind of show them off. Put that right about like that. Get a hold of this one. Pop that. Let's see. Let's go this one down about like that. That'll be pretty. I've got a piece of tulle. I've just tied a little knot in it and cut the ends kind of in a zigzag fashion. And that will seat right there coming off. And to put our flowers into place, I'll go ahead and put this larger one at the top. About like that. And one of the reasons I like to use glue dots is if I'm not quite happy with the placement, I can pull it up and reposition it. If you use glue, it tends to be stuck down a little quicker. But I like to put a little bit of glue on just when I finish it all up and I'm happy with all the placement. That looks really nice. There we go. So finish that off with some pearls, and I think you've got a beautiful card. Love the way that looks, and those flowers are just so elegant done that way. Hope you've enjoyed today's video. I look forward to seeing you again soon.